We had huge news in the NFL today. The legend, the first Ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history, the man himself, J.J. Watt, announced his retirement on social media this morning. On the post, he had his first child, Koa, who was born in October, with his wife, Kelia. And he said, this was Koa's first NFL game and my last NFL home game. And J.J. Watt's going to hang him up after this season. An incredible career for the living legend, J.J. Watt. 12 years in the NFL, put on a performance that I don't think we'll ever be able to forget. I would assume the reason for retirement is, obviously, he's still playing really good, but he had the rhythm of his heart reset earlier this season after experiencing AFib. And then he played days later after that. And, with him having his new kid, it just seemed like that, I think it's time. And I think that's where JJ was. And, I just feel so fortunate and so lucky that I had the chance to interview JJ last year in December 21st, 2021. Had the opportunity to get the first interview with JJ after he got injured last season. It was the interview of a lifetime. If you've not checked that out, please go check out that interview with JJ. Absolutely incredible experience. It's always going to be an interview that I remember. So go check it out on my channel. I would really appreciate that. And I got to see firsthand what J.J. Watt is all about. The honesty, the kindness, just being nice and just giving time to people that, deserve it. And, so lucky that I'm able to say that. And there's just not enough things about JJ because, he really changed my life. I'm not going to be honest with you. That interview was absolutely incredible because it was his first one after injury. And that interview made national headlines on the NFL website, on Pro Football Talk, on, all these major sports media websites. My interview with JJ was featured on there. And, on the Arizona Cardinals website, it was there. The Arizona media did, there are 3 local stations did stories on what I am and who I am. And it's all because of J.J. Watt. Just sent a message to him on Twitter, shared my story, and I was like, hey, I'd love to interview you on my channel. And he responded saying that, yeah, let's make it happen. And it happened, and I still can't believe it and just can't thank J.J. enough. J.J.'s going to end his career with 111 and a half sacks. He's 26th all time. And he is the only player to record 20-plus sacks in multiple seasons, 2012 and 2014, the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, the Walter Payton Man of the Year, the Sports Person of the Year. In my opinion, the MVP in 2014. To me, the greatest Houston Texan of all time. He's going to wrap it up, spend the last 2 seasons in Arizona, did some good things over there, but fortunately it didn't help him win a Super Bowl ring, unfortunately. But J.J. Watt, hats off, got to give salute to the legend himself, always a Houston Texan in our eyes down here in Houston. He's only one of 3 players to be named Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, joining Aaron Donald and Lawrence Taylor. So obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. And it's just incredible. It's such big news when J.J. Watt does anything. And got to give thanks and got to give a lot of credit to what he's done. All 3 of those Defensive Player of the Year came with the Houston Texans, 2012, 14, and 15. And the franchise selected him 11th overall in the 2011 draft out of Wisconsin. And Watt had 28 games with 2 sacks, 5 more than anybody else in 2011. He's the career sack leader for the Houston Texans franchise with 101. Still playing at a high level at 33, but I think it's about time. I guess that's what he thought. The 7-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowl selection, most tackle for losses and quarterback hits since 2011. And the season from 2012 to 2015, those were seasons that he was the greatest defensive player in NFL history. Led the NFL in sacks with 69 TFLs, with 119 quarterbacks hits with 190. And Justin Houston was the next closest in sacks with 50 and a half. He had 19 and a half more sacks than Justin Houston. And he had almost double the amount of tackle for losses that Levante David had. And then Carlos Dunlap was the closest in quarterback hits back in those days with 100, and J.J. Watt had 90 more than those. Those were absolutely insane. Led the NFL in sacks twice, TFLs 3 times, and quarterback hits in all 4 seasons. He is the only player in NFL history to have multiple seasons of 20-plus sacks. I already mentioned that because it's such an insane stat. You just don't see it. Watt and Reggie White, they're the only 2 guys who have ever done it. It's supposed 3 or more seasons with 17 and a half sacks. And, he had 7 total touchdowns in his career, 5 in 2014. Caught 3 touchdown passes that year, 1 fumble recovery touchdown, and an interception return touchdown. Obviously, in his rookie year of 2011, had the very, very famous first touchdown that he had in his career, an interception of Andy Dalton in that wildcard game, which resulted in the first Houston Texans win in the playoffs ever. And 2014, J.J. Watt should have won the MVP, 20 and a half sacks, 1 interception, 5 fumble recoveries, 5 touchdowns, 78 tackles, 10 passes defended. Absolutely incredible. Should have won the MVP in 2014 as well. There's just not enough things you can say about J.J. Watt. And really the most important thing about him is that he is a humanitarian. The stuff that he does off the field is what has made him an icon and a legend for the rest of history. You just don't see athletes do this kind of stuff. His foundation, the J.J. Watt Foundation, of course, raised $6.5 million since it started in 2010 when he still was in college. And J.J. Watt is just such an inspiring story. Not only that, he was a walk-on at Wisconsin. He played tight end at some other place and, was delivering pizzas. He didn't know what to do with his life. And then, he was like, let me change the defense. Became an All-American at the defensive end position and 11th overall pick in the 2011 draft. And the rest is history. And, from Pewaukee, Wisconsin, just absolute legend of a man. And, in 2017, of course, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, and J.J. Watt raised over $37 million, to distribute to the victims here in Houston. And the initial goal for that was only $200K. And he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year for that in the year 2017-18. Obviously, the most deserving candidate of Walter Payton Man of the Year you'll ever see in the history of that award. So, absolutely incredible. Not enough you can say about J.J. Watt. And he follows me on Twitter. Be sure to follow me on Twitter too. What a guy. Just love J.J. and wish him best of luck in retirement. I'm sure he's going to do some incredible things, whether he owns a soccer team, which is what he talked about. Who knows what he does. Broadcaster, I don't know. He's going to be great at it. He's going to be killing it just like he did on the field. So salute to J.J. Watt, one of the GOATs.